Eda X Reader. Now, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the author, so to avoid the risk of sounding stupid and insensitive, I'm leaving the name of the author in the description and in the thumbnail. Now, the author left a summary. Both you and Eda wake up to a little surprise, then try to figure out your feelings towards each other. Set when Lilith was still living in the owl house. Rating for talks of freaky deaky time. The author also left notes. Author said, "Hi, I love Eda so much. I can say with such confidence I am an Eda simp. There isn't enough Eda X readers out there, so I made one. Also, I do not take constructive criticism. Thanks." Well, luckily for the author, I really like their piece, and I just wanted to read it as for today's video. Now, the start of the piece that they wrote. The sun peeked through the window, causing you to get woken up. You pulled your arm up towards your face to rub the sleep from your eyes and tried to get up, but there seemed to be some sort of force pulling you back to the bed. You opened your eyes fully to see some arms wrapped around you. To this, you whipped your head to the side and saw a familiar face sleeping on your shoulder, her long hair acting like another blanket which covers her also naked body. You didn't know what to do. You wanted to wake her up, but the owl lady just looked so peaceful and comfortable. While you were contemplating what to do, your moving about woke up the woman lying next to you. "What are you doing? Eda cut herself off when she looked at you and noticed the lack of clothing on both your bodies, which caused her to blush. What happened? You blushed too. I don't know. I just woke up. And you couldn't finish your sentences just from how embarrassed you were. You covered yourself some more with Eda's blanket, but the woman in question didn't seem to care. She just seemed to smirk at you while you freaked out, which just caused you to blush a little more. To make it less awkward for yourself, you tried looking at Eda a little more respectfully, as she was a very good friend of yours, and friends shouldn't exactly see each other this way. Eda moved a little closer, and if you could smirk even more than you can, Eda definitely did. Like what you see? You crossed your arms. You seem to be loving this. Well, I haven't seen you make any effort to try and leave, hun, Eda said, lying on her side and resting her head on her hand. You muttered a small "shut up" and got up to try and look for your clothes. You could feel Eda's eyes looking at you. When you found some of her clothes lying around, you threw them at her and she put them on. "I can't find my bra," Eda said, having to put on one of her hoodies so you couldn't tell. "I can't find my shirt," you replied, doing up the belt to your trousers. Eda threw one of her hoodies at you. "Here, put this on for now. Maybe some things are scattered around the house." You put the hoodie on and it smelled just like her. It caused you to blush a lot more. Both you and Eda walked out, making sure there was no one around to see you also coming out her room. While walking down the stairs, Luz wished you both a good morning from the top of the stairs, with a sleepy King in her arms. You all went down the stairs and Luz went straight to the kitchen with King for some breakfast before she had to go to school. You walked over to the couch and sat down, but the seat felt off. You sat back up and realized you were sitting on Eda's missing bra. You grabbed it and was about to tell her, but you didn't want Luz hearing you from the other room. So the only other option you had was to throw it at her. "Hey!" Eda whisper shouted, but looked down at what you threw at her and realized what it was. "Oh, thanks." And when she stood back up after picking up the undergarment, she noticed something on the back of the couch. "Are those my tights?" You looked in Eda's direction, then back to the couch, seeing the black tights had been carelessly flung and barely hanging onto the couch. You blushed furiously again and threw the tights at Eda, who saw it coming and caught it with one hand. Luz came back out the kitchen and set King onto the couch. "I have to go to school, King. I'll be back soon, okay?" the girl said to the demon quietly, grabbing what she could find to use as a blanket for him. King just grunted slightly and Luz gave him a little kiss on his head, then stood up. "Hey guys, I gotta head to school. See you later," the human said happily to both of you, and the owl lady. Eda ruffled her hair affectionately as she walked past, and Hootie opened the door for her, proceeded to say something about how the early bird gets the worm, then started to regurgitate some worms he ate, which made Luz just walk a little faster to school. You walked over to the door and shut it before Hootie could say anything to you. You didn't feel like dealing with him right now. "Right, Mama could use some coffee," Eda said, eventually making her way to the kitchen. "Is that it?" you asked, following her. "We're not just going to talk about the fact that we slept together." You both heard a throat clearing and turned your head to see Lilith staring at you both. Did you hear that?" you asked. "Loud and clear," she replied, finishing off her own mug of coffee. You were about to eternally scream when Eda hit you upside the head. "Ow!" "You're the one making a big deal out of it, yet here you are blurting it out to everyone you can find." Eda crossed her arms at you. I didn't know she was here." "I think I'll leave you two alone," Lilith said, quickly moving out of the room. Once Lilith was gone, you turned back to Eda. "I'm sorry, I just don't know how to feel about all this. You must have gotten drunk or something. I knew I shouldn't have let you talk me into having a few glasses of apple blood." "Hey, this isn't all my fault. You were in my bed after all. Anyways, if you stayed, it must have been good." You blushed a lot from that. Eda was not helping at all. It's just..." you groaned. "We're friends. Friends don't do that." "Well, if it makes you feel better, I have had a crush on you ever since we met up again that one time. So I'm not exactly complaining about this whole situation, even though I can't remember much of it," Eda said casually while taking a sip from her mug. You blushed again, then sighed loudly. "Well, I've got a crush on you too." Eda nearly dropped her mug from shock. What? Seriously? You nodded shyly. Well, this worked out better than expected. Eda walked past you and kissed you on the cheek. I guess this now means we can do it whenever we want without having to waste my apple blood. She smirked. You blushed lightly and hit her gently on the arm as she walked out the kitchen. You shook your head but smiled about the fact your feelings are reciprocated. Eda walked back and... I found your shirt. You might want to come and see this. You looked at her confused and followed her back over to where the couch was, and saw that Luz had put it over King in substitute for a blanket to keep him warm. The end.